lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast. Prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's #1 lycanthrope, Jack Russell, a.k.a. the Werewolf, a.k.a. the Beast, a.k.a. the Shaggy One. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other host, Jacob Balcom.
And we are joined this week by my friend, Ben. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
It's going great now that you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
And really, thanks for joining us on the larger journey. You've jumped on and you've been reading along with this thing since we started last September or something.
Yeah, I think you friended me on Instagram with the new account, and I immediately was like, what on earth is this? And bought it and started following along and reading, and it's been a fun journey.
Good. Well, I'm glad you came along. It's been fun hearing about people who have checked this stuff out who would never in a million years check that kind of thing out, typically. Which kind of brings me to our kind of get to know you segment there. I mentioned this when we were kind of leading up to you at the end of last episode, but you came into comics relatively recently. And that's kind of interesting to Jacob and I because we grew up with them. So they are inextricable from our childhood, our youths. We're kind of chasing the dragon whenever we get a new story arc or something like that. It's always looking for that rush you got when you were 10 and you got some Punisher comic or something like that. So talk to me a little bit about how you even got into the medium, because we talked about this the other weekend, but we were drinking beer sitting by your lovely river house. So I gave myself a forget me now and forgot all about it.
No problem. So yeah, I really didn't start reading comics at all until about 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't read them in my youth at all. And I really picked up like starting to try to read The Walking Dead, I think about 10 years ago or so. Someone, I assume you, but it's so long ago, I can't remember, said I should check it out. So I picked up the first 3 volumes, read them on a flight, and just never really like picked back up with it. Didn't get going. But then fast forward a few years, and my wife picked up, this for sure was your recommendation, Queen and Country by Greg Rucka, the first volume of that.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And so she gave that to me right before we once again went on a flight and went on a trip to Europe. And I read it and just like could not wait to get back home to buy the rest of them. Picked them up and just like from there went to town and just have, tried to find whatever it is. As you said, chasing the dragon, right? There's something in that first one that grabs you that you just gotta, I think, keep finding and looking for. So for me, yeah, it's been, I chase the you guys talk about artists a lot, and for some reason, the artists aren't really what grabs me. It's usually the writers. Trying to find that writer that really hits the style that I like. And so I just find one and then read everything they've written and then try to find something related that they've maybe done somewhat thing with and go on to the next one that way.
So did you go on a whole Greg Rucka exploration after Queen and Country?
I certainly did go on a Greg Rucka exploration. He's still one of my favorites.
Totally.
I read the Stumptown stuff, which was pretty good and fun. And then I've been into Lazarus since it started coming out. That's one that I was really interested in. And it's the thing that actually got me to finally subscribe to issues. So I've subscribed to Lazarus issues. Otherwise, I'm mostly a trades guy.
That's like the equivalent of like, you're like the businessman who maybe, smoked a little heroin on a little pod or something like that at a club one night. Then you kind of start, maybe you cook it in a spoon, snort it. And then going to single issues was like, you said, fuck it, I am mainlining it. I'm putting this into my vein with a spike. I don't give a shit anymore. That was the final degradation.
I will say I started doing them on Comixology at first. It's like, okay, I don't have to own this physical thing, but I do want to read it faster. And then I just was like, no, I can't even do that. I just got to go for the physical content.
So what's your shop?
So I really started doing that during pandemic, which means I didn't really go out. So I've been doing things from Another World's online order.
Nice.
I don't have actually, for a while I was doing that. I can't think of the name of it, Matt, down by your office.
Floating
I was
World?
doing them. Yep, Floating World. Been going down to that location, or was before pandemic, to pick stuff up. But yeah, that's been kind of my journey. And I have a hard time once I pick something up, not finishing it, even if I don't really care for it, which is can be terrible. But
it is interesting because, like, I'm sure Jacob probably loved Fables as much as I did. But did you read Fables?
I did not.
Oh, okay. The first 8 trades are amazing. It culminates in this big storyline that, the last 2 or 3 trades are they built everything up to that. And it keeps going for a while. It spins off to one of the characters gets his own book. And it's just never the same after they resolve that big thing, like in volume 8 or 10. And I was just telling Ben, just read up through the thing, the War of the Wooden Soldiers, where I was like, I can't. Yeah. Like, I will have to read the whole thing. Ooh. So I don't even want to read it at all, which I find very interesting. Don't start Lost, is my advice to you.
No, I have not, thankfully.
So talk a little bit about some of the other stuff outside of the Rucka works. I know that you connected a lot with Mike Mignola.
Yeah, I did a deep dive in Hellboy. Once again, did that have to read absolutely everything. One of the ones I really enjoyed in that was the Lobster Johnson comics, because he's in the world, and then it's those were really fun, and I just like that kind of style of weird noirish kind of
pulpy.
Pulpy. There you go. There's the word I was looking for. Pulpy kind of thing going on.
Definitely.
Cross Game is one of the first mangas that I read, and I really enjoyed that, which I was really shocked about that because I don't like baseball, and it really somehow made me care about baseball.
I have heard that kind of a fun one. From several people. That
I think it's your buddy John that turned me onto that one.
John Morgan.
Yeah,
that sounds like John. Very cool. So what are you reading right now? Like, what's your TFA haul looking like these days?
I just read Reckless by Brubaker Phillips. Read the first 2 of those, which I really enjoyed. Pre-ordered the 3rd volume already, and I really like that it comes out in volumes. Right, it's a complete story, which is really fun I think everything that those 2 do together is that way, right? And just I'm in the middle of the Immortal Fist by Brubaker as well. As I said, I tend to pick a writer and kind of go.
Brubaker's a good one for that.
Oh, yeah. And then I've been reading Something is Killing the Children. That was the second one I tipped over and got the issues as well. Got a subscription going.
That's so good.
We love that book. And Matt, I did appreciate what you posted the other day when they were saying that they were talking about that's going to be a Netflix series. Mm-hmm. And I thought the exact same thing you wrote. You're just like, can't comics just be comics?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's one of the things that I love that series so much. And I just can't imagine a version on Netflix that is not going to make me angry.
Yeah. I mean, Sweet Tooth looked good and all. I don't understand. Like, Something is Killing the Children. The art is so much of it. And the same thing with like Hellboy. Like, I've liked some of what they've done with Hellboy in motion, in film or animated stuff or whatever, but there's a certain poetry to the rhythm or whatever of the comics medium. Like when you see Hellboy standing in some Japanese cemetery and it's just this shot of him looking all small or whatever, and then these just inks just black everywhere. And it's just these moody, they look like the comics art version of like a haiku. Like that doesn't translate to film and the guy painted red. It just doesn't work for me. I enjoyed the first 2 Hellboy, the Guillermo del Toro films. They're fine, but
they're fine.
They're just different animals. And the more and more I see like people mining the stuff, like, I mean, Something is Killing the Children. I mean, good for James Tynion or whatever, but good God. I mean, just pick up just read the comics.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to do that one. I saw that and was momentarily excited. And then I was like, wait, how on earth are you going to do something like this? Because they're these weird, amorphous, childlike, scary monsters, right? I mean,
I don't know.
You're not going to be able to make someone dress up like them.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there. But
It's like whenever they, we need to make Blood Meridian into a movie. Like, why? Yeah. Like this novel is experimental and traumatizing and strange and super long. Why would you ever try and wring out a 2-hour story out of that? And I mean, just, I don't know. I find it flabbergasting. So yeah. So you like the Hellboy verse. You got your Something That's Killing the Children. You got good taste.
Yeah, I've had a hard time describing what I like, right? For like finding a new thing. I don't really know what that is, right? Because it's not all horror. It's not, just science fiction or something, right? I haven't been able to describe and find it other than chasing, writers and such. It's almost like if there's a world built, right? If there's a big built world that you can really immerse yourself in the thought, that's part of it, I think. And then also, this will go into a little bit about what we're about to read, but I do enjoy being shown and not told. And and that really is a writer and an artist working together to make that work, right?
It is indeed.
But the Bronze Age stuff seems to have a little bit of a hard time with that and does a lot of telling.
Yeah.
Which I struggled with at first, which is why I hadn't read a ton of it. I've tried to read some of those, classics that you hear about and such, but I just never could get into it. So I've been excited to follow your guys' glee about it as I'm able to read through this, which has kept me going, where I may have, hit a period there of reading tons and tons and tons of narration bubbles and just stopped previously, despite me saying what I told you about completionist. But you guys helped pull me through, and it was well worth it so far.
Glad to hear it. So, what did you make before we dive in? What did you think of the last issue?
We're not saving this for final thoughts. We're just going right in.
Last
the
issue. Previous.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. I really liked the last issue. I was super into it. The kind of pacing of the car slowly going into the fog or whatever that was, right, through the whole issue, I thought was really neat. Kind of set the pace, but also like it was breakneck pace the whole time, right? There was constantly something happening, and some of the actual like more scary things that have happened in Werewolf by Night were in last issue, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good call out, Ben. That car was sinking into the quagmire, and all of this stuff was happening, like just volumes of evil, weird things are going on, and the car is just steadily. Like, this shows you how much is happening inside the house. The car is just slowly. I think it's still sinking in this issue. It's
still sinking.
That's how little time has passed. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it as much as we did. I'm sure you heard Jacob and I gushing about how fun it was. So,
yeah, it's always fun too to when my thoughts mesh up at the end when I try to read before you guys put out an episode and like, oh yeah, that part, I totally love that part, right? And following along with that as opposed to occasionally being like, what do they mean they like that? That's stupid.
Yeah. That's just a case where you get it wrong. That's all that is.
I mean, clearly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're very like we're like parents that are doting parents, I think, sometimes. So we're probably a little more generous with things than a lot of people would be. But that just means they're not good parents. Okay, so let's dig into Werewolf by Night issue 35 with a cover date of November 1975. So as Jacob mentioned last week, that was our last Gil Kane cover. He did go out with a bang. This time around, we have a cover by Mr. Jim Starlin, a name that a lot of you will recognize, and it's inked by Bernie Wrightson, so two giants of the medium. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Starlin, but maybe, Jacob, you can just kind of do a quick kind of once-over on the guy.
Yeah, pretty famous guy. He started at Marvel in 1972. He did finishes on Amazing Spider-Man, but then he went on to do a lot of other stuff. He did a pretty famous Captain Marvel run, co-created Thanos. But the year of this comic, 1975, it's the year that he took over the Adam Warlock book, which I think went from being the power of Warlock to just Warlock in issue 9. And, just took him. I mean, Warlock was already Space Jesus, but Starlin really made him Space Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's his deal, He's the cosmic space opera guy.
Yep.
And yeah, he'll go on to be a really big deal, but he's not quite there yet. He's definitely starting, but he's still getting assignments like this of doing a cover of like a failing book. So, maybe he's not huge shit yet.
Yeah. Did you ever read Dreadstar?
No,
he did. Was that a Marvel subsidiary? Epic?
I thought so. Yeah.
I used to kind of like that book.
I think I may have read it. I don't, the Starlin that I've read most of is his Captain Marvel run, specifically the Death of Captain Marvel, the
graphic novel.
Yeah, the graphic novel. And that I really liked, but I haven't read a ton of his Warlock stuff, but I know people love it, and he's a very famous, very talented guy.
So I never checked out any of the Marvel space stuff until Annihilation, whatever that was, like 2007. It was around maybe 2005 when they kind of rebooted everybody and kind of got them all up to date, and probably ultimately the reason that Guardians of the Galaxy and everything kind of came around. And anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge space guy in general, but I'll read it if Starlin wrote it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But, the guy who inked the cover, Bernie Wrightson, he is, I think, one of our favorites of all time.
Yes.
He's one of the greatest artists ever. And
if you post a Werewolf Wednesday picture that he did, you're guaranteed to have 4 or 5 times as many likes as you normally do on any post.
God, I really love
he is beloved.
Phenomenon. Yeah, when we would post those and they'd get like hundreds of likes, I was just like, the power of Bernie Wrightson. The guy is a god.
He is.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, he kind of started at DC in the early 70s on Swamp Thing and the horror books. And he came over to Marvel in August of 75, mainly as an inker, which is weird. And he stayed for less than a year. Like, he really doesn't have a ton of Marvel credits at that time. It kind of seemed like Marvel didn't know what to do with him. Like, he should have. Yeah, it's definitely their loss. Like, he should have done crazy cool shit over there, but he really didn't. But yeah, we know that he knows how to draw a werewolf, especially I think that story in Swamp Thing 4 with the werewolf is one of his greatest. And it's funny. So he did that House of Mystery werewolf cover. And then I think becomes most famous werewolf thing is later on with the Cycle of the Werewolf he did for Stephen King. That was like later 70s or even 1980, I think, right?
Yeah, it was early 80s, I thought.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, though.
But yeah, so it's kind of weird. We get these two, titans that do the art for the cover, but I'm excited we get to mention them at least. That's great.
Yeah, no kidding. So what we have here is basically picking up right where the cliffhanger ended last issue, with the extricated, the werewolf soul that possesses Jack Russell has been pulled out of him and is separate from Jack Russell and is the original peasant host of the beast spirit. And so he has turned into a werewolf and charged Jack at the top of a banister of a flight of stairs or whatever, and they broke through and are falling towards the ground inside the castle or the house. We're kind of a bird's eye view looking down from the rafters at this. Pretty dynamic. Wrightson's inks on the fur are spot on gorgeous. There's kind of a vertiginous quality to like being up this high and looking at them as they fall over the precipice and are heading down. Meanwhile, Elaine and Lissa, apparently, at least on the original print, she has brown hair, so it's Lissa, are looking up as they fall. But we all know from last issue that was Topaz and Elaine, so that's a lie. This is a lie. So let's have I'm having some Old Forester.
What are you drinking, Ben?
I am drinking some Russell's Reserve.
Excellent.
Jacob?
I'm still on the Long Branch.
It's not the same bottle, though, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
You can make me check myself into Trembling Hills if that was the same trip. Ben, what do you think of this?
I actually really liked it. The claws and kind of the muscles and fur are a lot different than we see on a lot of the werewolf depictions. And there's something about this one that reminded me of the werewolf in the Taboo Werewolf by Night that was just released last year. I don't know what it is, but there's some quality to it that kind of reminded me of that more than what we've seen in this run of Werewolf by Night.
No, it's a good observation. I can see where you're going with that. With the musculature, for sure, has a lot to shares a lot in common with the Scott Eaton more modern Werewolf by Night run. Yeah, both very cool.
Definitely. Yeah, another thing that's a lie. I just want another sip of Old Forester. This guy had like fuchsia pants, and now he's got green pants on the cover. I mean, come on.
Drink.
It's been a long day. I just want an extra drink.
Okay.
So
I did notice that though, that I like the fuchsia pants through the whole thing for the for the spirit of the werewolf. It was a fun little thing to like, oh no, this is not Jack Werewolf. Spirit Werewolf, fuchsia pants.
Yeah, but they had to sell this. His copy here says "Fight to the finish." Jack Russell battles the werewolf. So I think to the casual person walking by a newsstand, like, oh, he's fighting himself, so it has to be green pants. But it's a little too complex, for the average kid walking by there with some newspaper money to sell. Spend.
Can one of you though describe to me what he's jumping from at the top? Like, is that like a patch of grass? What's going on up there?
That is
like
light.
Werewolf.
Oh, the light.
Sunburst of light to contrast him against the shadow, I guess.
So just an artistic need, not like
I think it's
supposed to be like
flourish.
a rug or something.
Hay.
Shag rug.
Yeah.
Hay.
he lit a whole bunch of firecrackers.
Yeah.
And launched himself at Jack.
Let's go with that. I like that.
Title at the bottom says "Death in the House of Hell." So I'm ready to dive in. I think that Jack looks great in here too. Good musculature, nice inking, the hatching on all the shading, and his face. He looks genuinely horrified.
Yeah,
the slices through the chest are pretty cool too. Scratches.
Yes, nice touch.
So yeah, for our opening page, let's just read the creators. We have story Doug Munch, art Don Perlin, letterer Deborah James, colorist George Rousseau, and editor Marv Wolfman. So this is the time at Marvel when Marv Wolfman took over for Len Wein. So Len Wein's been on the job for I don't know, maybe a year, maybe
6-8 months.
I know. And then, Len stepped down because he hated the job, like everybody does. And he handed the reins to his good pal Marv. And Len would continue writing for Marvel, I think, until around 77. And he moves over to DC to write Batman. And Marv Wolfman is on the job for a year or not. And then he transfers it over to Archie Goodwin, who lasted about a year, and then Shooter took over in 78, and then that went for a while. So
yes,
yeah, we're in this, revolving door of editors in chief, all really cool guys, but just not the guys for the head job.
Right.
But yeah, so this issue, it opens with the full page illustration of kind of like on the cover, just where we left off last issue with Jack and the werewolf, crashing through the railing. But I did like the narration. It says, "It could only have happened in Marcosa House, where evil conspired with madness to waste us all. I heard Topaz and Elaine shriek in unison as I fell, clutching the tapestry. A hideous figure of horror plummeted after me, twisting and slashing, wanting my death. The figure was the werewolf by night." And is that the first time we've gotten the title of the book in our dialogue?
In his own narration, I feel like yes.
In his own narration, I think that's I think that's a first. It's a pretty cool illustration. So yeah, Jack is hanging on to the tapestry, and it's tearing, which kind of reveals the title of the issue, which is into the stone wall. It says, "Evil in every stone, no longer hiding." Nice little skull beneath that. No, I think this is cool. I liked this illustration, even though the physics don't make as much sense to me. It's a little, I don't know.
Yes.
No, I absolutely agree, Jacob, that the werewolf coming in at whatever kind of flying angle it is just bizarre, right? But I really enjoyed that tearing tapestry revealing the title. I thought that was a really cool thing to note there.
I agree. And I think I should get a no prize because I'm pretty sure there's a comma after stone in the title that was not colored in by George. There's a raised comma shaped stone there. I think that
it's colored on my
digital copy. It's colored
really?
Digital. They
fixed it. Nice.
Yeah.
So I only get a no prize in 1975?
I mean, maybe.
Okay. So as far as physics go here, guys, what I think is happening is they've fallen. Jack has grabbed onto the tapestry, and meanwhile, time has continued on. So the new beast has continued to fall. So Jack's in a higher position because he's bought a split second of time while the tapestry starts to tear, and the beast continues falling. I think that all kind of makes sense physically.
Nerd.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I like that page a lot. The next page starts with saying, his gambit is grabbing onto the tapestry, and he says, "It worked. I'd halted my fall and clung for dear life as my broken hand sizzled with fire. But down below, the werewolf halted his fall like a supple cat, and he lands on his feet right next to Elaine and Topaz, who are freaking out. And I could not help but think, poor Jack's metacarpals and phalanges at this point. Like, he broke them punching a hospital wall, right, or something, or a wall at his house. Then he fought Moon Knight for 2 issues with a broken hand. And now he got it bandaged, at least, if not in a cast. And now he's still using it regularly. He just karate chopped a skeleton neck with it last issue. And now he's hanging for dear life with it. This thing is never going to heal.
No, he's screwed.
Yeah, he's totally screwed. So the beast is now. So when I say the beast, I'm going to say the werebeast, because that is the third-party beast, and that is what Elaine calls him. So she says, Topaz says, the werebeast has forgotten about Jack. It's coming for us now, and it starts stalking towards the women, growling. And Elaine's like, "It can't be real, Topaz. It must be a trick sent by Marcosa or the house." And Jack is kind of thinking, well, I'm pretty sure that's real because I've felt the slashes and everything that's been happening to me while I've been fighting it. And he says, I have to save the ladies. There's no way I'm going to, be played out like a sucker. And so he grabs onto the tapestry, kind of crawls up a little bit, bunches up his legs, kicks out, swings out full swing, and does this Dick Grayson like flying trapeze thing, and lands both feet on the back of the new werewolf's head. It would start a fight, which could only end in one way, and I knew it. So he's essentially throwing himself to the proverbial lions by distracting the werewolf long enough to let the women go free. But I couldn't help but think he's got to have some cathartic joy here, kicking like the extracted problem of his last 2 years of his life in the back of the head as hard as he can.
It's a great move, but yeah, it had to be satisfying.
So yeah,
I think it's also a really cool looking move. Like that series from like the 4th panel on is pretty neat. Culminating in that 2-foot kick to the back of the head is just, and that kind of agony bestial look going on the spirit werebeast's face. Yeah, super neat.
And I have nothing but love for the art so far. Anytime there's a close-up of anybody's face in this, it's pretty strikingly good, like notably good to me. So like that middle panel there when Jack's looking down over his shoulder and formulating the plan to buy the women time to get away. Like that's just everything looks perfect. And the beast, the details on the werewolf getting kicked in the back of the head is he looks very pissed and very pained. I love it.
Agreed. Yeah, the art on this page is super, super great. And yeah, I noticed that too, Matt. The faces are really strong in this, especially distressed faces.
Yeah, totally.
Like, yeah, Perlin is on this issue for sure. Jack does a really cool move, but he also does a super like Avengers style landing on the next page as he just, lands all badass and is, facing off against the werewolf. And he says, all right, Buster, I may feel sorry for you. And I may know what it's like to be in your shoes, to turn into a stinking werewolf. But whether you're a part of my soul or not, I won't let you kill 2 innocent people. And if you're still hell-bent on trying it, you'll have to maul me first, which he does.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty hilarious. That's even what the narration says, which he proceeded to do with savage vengeance. So, yeah, the werewolf just pounces on Jack and starts slashing him. And I like how Elaine kind of, gets gets Topaz out of her funk here, which I love, because she's like, do something, for God's sakes, use your powers to control the thing before it kills Jack. And Topaz at first is like, oh, I can't, Elaine. I've tried in the past, but, I've lost my powers. All Elaine has to do is remind her, it's like, you're in Marcosa House. Like, your powers have increased. At least try to save him. And God, I loved those 3 panels at the bottom. I didn't realize how I've missed a powered Topaz.
Yeah, I know. That's
oh God, it's just so nice to see her, just try really hard and get some of that Ploog Plasma that comes back and calms the werebeast, which is that was very, very satisfying to see those last 3 panels.
Yeah, and just freezes him still standing over Jack. Mm-hmm. And Topaz is sweating profusely with the strain of doing this, but it's working. And then her powers have come back or been augmented by the house so much anyway. Maybe there's just like residual energy to spare that's, psionic or something. I don't know. It turns this guy in a little 3-panel thing back into his human self. And it explains here to the confused reader who had not read last issue who this peasant was that turned into a werewolf. That that must have been very confusing for a kid who just like, wait, what? So this guy apologizes and says, I can't control my actions. Marcosa did this to me. I was forced to do it. And I'm just asking you again, please just leave the house while you have a chance. This house will kill you. Jack's like, but how? What do you mean? He's like, the gargoyle, both your salvation and your damnation are locked inside the... And then he pauses and he snaps into terror. He's like, no, please don't. I didn't mean to disobey you. Please. And so he's responding to something that no one else is seeing. He's like, stay away from me. Don't hurt me again. And then they can hear that wooden peg leg going tump, 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 somewhere in the house walking. And that's the source of his fear. And then freakishly, his face just disappears. So he's got like Sean Cassidy hair, no shirt on, and then just 1 second, he's just a skull with hair and human body. And he's screaming, no, I'll kill them for you. I swear I will. I'll deliver them into hell for you so you can take them. Please believe me. So he's freaking out because Marcosa's punishing him. His head was a skull, and the skull shrieked as it oozed burning slime. And in the next panel, the eyes have become full of red slime that are shooting light out of them. It is the most freakishly bizarre. Why did Danzig not steal this?
Yeah,
that other Michael Golden thing. Crazy panel.
Yeah, like so cool.
Since Elfric melted that cop, I don't think I've seen anything like that, like body horrible in this.
Yeah, that panel especially was really bizarre and creepy, like you said. I really liked the tump 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 one when he's screaming out, and we know that from the previous issue. I'm gonna call back to the previous page real quick though. Did Jack out himself in front of Elaine?
There was a bunch of moments like this in here. Like, are we still doing the Three's Company thing where we're pretending you're not a werewolf? Because like people don't seem very good at keeping it up.
Yeah, and he went early in that last issue, with Topaz, we're not going to let her know, right?
I know.
No matter what, she's not going to find out. And then he just outs himself on this. I think it's the first panel on that last page.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Elaine's saying, use your powers to control that thing before it kills Jack. So she could still be in the dark saying, I know you're a psychic or whatever.
Yeah, but she's and she investigates weird phenomenon, right? And
yeah,
right in front of her, right? Hey, I know what it's like to turn into a werewolf like you. I thought that was pretty silly. But.
Fair enough.
So yeah, after we get the face melting, on the next page, the first panel, the guy just bursts into flames and kind of shrivels into nothingness. And it says, and he shriveled at once, but there was no ash. Nothing but smoke curling from a message charred into solid stone. And the message reads, you will be mine in hell.
One of the less popular candy arts from Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's so awesome. It says, and then we hear the tump, tump, tump again. Topaz is like, that sound again, the wooden leg. Elaine's like, yes, Marcosa's wooden leg. Listen, he's moving across the hall. And we get kind of a cool view of Marcosa from behind, and then he turns around. He's just shrouded in darkness, except for these almost would look like disembodied like eyes. The eyes aren't glowing, but there's light all around them as he's laughing. It's kind of, I don't know, that illustration, that middle panel there made me laugh.
It made me laugh, but it also made me very happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just enough goofiness that it's still scary, but yeah, it did make me laugh a little bit. And so yeah, he walks off into the darkness, still laughing. And what a cool bottom panel! It's just this long rectangle, and they're in silhouette on the left, and it's just this dark passages of this crazy castle type house. I don't know. I loved the layout and construction of that bottom panel a lot.
I'm right with you there, Jacob. And Matt called out the kind of Hellboy style, that love of him standing like a cemetery, right? And this kind of pulls some of that in for me. I really enjoyed it in that way. Like, you see how alone and how like vast and scary this is from this one dark panel. And
especially because this is a place where the words and the illustration are actually shaking hands, because he's talking about how, after Marcosa walks off with that creepy wooden leg, there's just silence and shadow. And then so that panel shows you like this overwhelming, like they're drowning in a sea of silence and shadows, where the entire house is now Marcosa again. Now he's entered it and dissipated and just become omnipresent menace. Great stuff. This next page has some of the coolest angles in it that I've seen in a while. Like, it starts off with Jack and Topaz and Elaine all kind of like bowing their heads and looking just like daunted, like the silence is just a weight on them, and they just look horrified, and it's flaring up with this candlelight, these reds and oranges and yellows in the background. It's gorgeous composition and drawing of those faces. Then the next panel, you get looking down on them from upstairs, and the word help comes down the stairway, and then they remember, oh shit, that's right, last issue my sister was screaming her head off for help. So they run upstairs. He's like, Lissa, and there's another wild angle looking down the stairs as they bolt up, and then there's another wild angle after that where you're down on the floor looking up at Jack as he approaches Lissa's door, and there's three little like stone or decorative heads of like demons and skulls above her door. Just weird funhouse mirror stuff. And then he busts inside, and he finds in the last panel, Lissa is hanging from a hangman's noose by her neck from the rafters, and there's no one holding the end of the rope. It's just hanging there, being suspended by an invisible entity. So she swayed, squirming, kicking wildly, clutching at her throat. The other end of the rope hung in midair, held by no one. Great page, man. Dynamite on that page.
Holy shit. Yeah, that angle you were talking about is unreal. I mean, I don't know if I've seen that before. Just that crazy. I mean, maybe in The Spirit or something, like, but yeah, and that last panel, especially with Lissa just, hanging by a noose, it's fucking terrifying.
It just, the pace through this, just you can feel, and those angles I think really help with that. Like, oh my God, this is like freaky, and they gotta go, and they're moving. And through all that, this like scary moment, I couldn't stop laughing about the pajamas that Topaz and Lissa are wearing. It's like, you go to this place and these are the pajamas you decide to wear. I don't know. It really
They're the ones I wanted her to wear.
Yeah, Ben, we are totally fine with the situation.
Topaz looks great in pink. Okay. Well, if you decide there's a problem that you want to share with that, go ahead. I'll listen. But
I don't have a problem.
Gobbledygook.
I just thought it was funny.
I respect that. They are kind of playful, frisky.
Right, they should be having a pillow fight at a sleepover.
They should, though. That is the thing. I've been writing letters, and no one's answering any of my letters about the pillow fight.
Oh, Len hasn't responded, right? That's so weird. But yeah, and so yeah, there's a lot to laugh at. But my God, on the next page, this took me by surprise. I'm not going to lie. And so we go to see, and now suddenly we see that someone is holding the rope, and it's Philip Russell. It's their dad, stepdad, uncle, all together in one, holding the rope. with one hand, because of course he has his pipe in the other hand. So if he's a figure created by Marcosa's really done his homework. Like, he knows Philip Russell likes a pipe. He's got the outfit right.
Yes. Well, yeah. I'm assuming he's tapping into Lissa and Jack's minds, right? But yes, I love that he got, the sweaters are perfect.
Yeah, everything is perfect. But yeah, he looks really evil. He's winking as he's tugging on this. And so Jack just, loses his shit and just, lunges for him. But of course, he's a phantom Philip. And so Jack he goes right through him, and Jack smashes his face on the wall. But then Lissa drops onto the bed with the totally not spectral rope, which I don't know. I was trying to make I'm still trying to make sense of, what's physical, corporeal, and but yeah, so she drops to the bed and just loses her fucking mind. She just starts screaming. She's like, he tried to kill me in my sleep. My own father tried to kill me. And this cracked my shit up. Jack's first thought, he's like, Elaine, have you got any sedatives, sleeping pills, anything? And, it's 1975, so of course she does.
Yeah. And I know, I was thinking like that the Elaine Marsden action figure comes with real Valium caplets, Seekanols. It's Seekanol Elaine.
Yeah, so of course she does, and she's running to get him, but Jack's screaming at her like, never mind that now, just get those sedatives for my sister, hurry. And yeah, Topaz is trying to hold Lissa down because she's just wigging out. She's going, easy, Lissa, it's over now, it never really happened. She's like, but it did. He tried to kill me, my own father. And oh my God, yeah, Lissa's face is just contorted in agony.
Yeah, that's very sad. She is hysterical. Rightly so.
Some of the faces kind of gave me Ramita feels a little bit. Am I wrong with face? That?
No, man, totally. Mouth and eyes are very Ramita Senior.
That's just, I don't know. I mean,
the whole face, really.
The whole face. And I noticed that on a few things here. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Ramita goes in and does some finishes.
That's a good question.
Because a lot of times Perlin, even in last issue, a lot of times the faces did not look like this. And a lot of the time his faces, I don't know. I would hesitate to guess that there might be some Ramita touches or touch-ups done on this issue.
Yeah, Topaz and Lissa both look very Ramita-y in that last panel.
And we know he likes to get his fingers in things. So,
yes. Jacob.
Yeah, watch
Family
out.
Show. So after that, Jack walks out and he's just physically and mentally exhausted. He just kind of leans against the wall and is looking down, just catching his breath. And half an hour later, Lissa screams for 30 minutes, quieter and quieter, until the sedatives kick in and she passes out. And Topaz and Elaine leave her, and it's like, all right, she's asleep now. She'll be fine. And Jack's there's this great panel looking up at Jack, very, very kind of golden age horror shading on him and stuff like that. He says, we came here to find a way of saving Buck's life, but all we've succeeded in doing is getting ourselves half killed every time we turn around. Jack actually has the score here. He's abnormally with it. He's like, it's got to stop, but what do we do about it? What? And there's a kind of a weird panel here of Topaz where she looks like Loretta Swit from MASH. I'm not going to lie. Looks like Hot Lips.
She totally looks like Hot Lips. That's why I said that the faces are really inconsistent in this issue.
Yeah.
There's something changed on this page, right? I don't know what it's just the shading, but something like this page in particular, the faces, someone must have really been into this or something. They spent a lot more time on it seems like. The eyes, all the eyes seem to have a ton more detail in them than the previous pages.
It is definitely, this page in particular has lots of different stylistic stuff. Like in that second panel when Elaine comes out and she's half in shadow, looks like Meet the Beatles or something, she just looks weird. It doesn't, I don't know. I'm not used to Perlin's inks being so, like I said in that one where it's looking up at Jack. The last panel where it's looking at Jack again, this is kind of hatching style that's, maybe it's just because Perlin's just showing the moonlight, like Topaz's hair, the Hot Lips version of her.
Yeah, maybe it's him trying to do shadows, but Perlin can do shadows just fine in his own style. That's this issue weirds me out a little bit. Enough to where I went and looked at like what other books Perlin was doing, and he's not doing a whole lot of anything right now. So it's not like he was, pressed for time probably, unless he had other like weird shit going on. But yeah, he doesn't have a heavy workload. It seems like. It really seems like someone went in and finished some of these pages because it's just very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. So Topaz is explaining, since we've got here, this evil has been affecting all of us. These are psychic influences. It's affecting our minds. It's trying to destroy us mentally. So Jack's like, wait a minute, are you saying that? And there's a strange panel where Jack's head is in shadow as they're all talking in the hallway, and there's a candle in the foreground. Kind of an interesting approach there. And he's saying, so everything we've experienced here has just been a hallucination. And then she's saying, well, there's a lot of debate about, what this stuff is. Is this spirits of once living people? Is this some type of scientific manifestation of an energy that we don't understand? All the different kind of reads on what paranormal stuff could possibly be. It could be a magnetic energy or it could just be us hallucinating. And Elaine says, she's right, Jack, because, for instance, when you were fighting that werebeast, you probably felt every single scratch and blow and bite from the monster, but you are unscathed right now. And he looks down his chest, and sure enough, he is not injured. It's like, so then what's the answer? How do we know when to fight it and when to ignore it? And how do we fight it at all? And then he hears a soft laugh or a snort in the distance as like Marcosa's listening and thinks it's funny that they actually think they can fight him.
I loved that touch. That really made me laugh.
Very inconsistent art, this page.
Yeah, and then even the first panel of the next page too. Like I think Topaz looks different on every page.
Yeah,
and it's very, very weird to me.
Yeah, it's almost more cartoony or something, right? Yeah. Than the rest of it. Yeah, I don't know. Some of this page has some of it too, and then it gets back to kind of normal-ish. Maybe, I don't know.
Just for the record, I like it when she looks like Gwen Stacy more and Hot Lips Houlihan less.
I think that is the opinion of the show, the official opinion of the show. More Gwen Stacy, less Hot Lips. But then, what do you think she looks like? She almost looks more like Jack in that first panel there. It's so weird.
Even with the little turnout hair at the bangs kind of turning out almost more like
the Farrah Fawcett bangs.
Yeah.
And but I don't want to jump on your page here, Jacob, but that middle panel, while we're talking about this consistency thing, like that panel of Jack almost looks like a photo trace. Like it's got this level of photorealism to it that's kind of creepy, like Uncanny Valley-ish.
It is Uncanny Valley-ish. It made me notice it's like someone did, like a photo tracing of the model for Prince Valiant.
Yeah,
that's how it made sense in my head. But so Topaz is kind of saying, she's like, the answer must relate to skulls, Jack. The image has recurred too often for coincidence. First on the spirit of Elaine's husband, now on the peasant. Then she reminds them that the skeleton they found in the cellar was also lacking a skull. And I like that Elaine's kind of, she's got her shit back together as a paranormal investigator. She's like, I agree, the skull motif is too constant to ignore, but the answer must be more complex. And she's like, what about the gargoyle? And Jack is like, I had this nightmare about a gargoyle. And we get a flashback page or a panel of the dream sequence from last issue. And he's like, it said that it held the secret we're looking for in its soul and in the thousands of damned souls locked within it. And then we keep getting this like reoccurring narration of like another chuckle, slightly louder. So Marcosa's really having a good time listening to them just try to logic out all this shit. I know. But then Jack's like, come on, the gargoyle's the only thing we have to go on, so we might as well check it out. And he gets to what was the locked front door. And he's like, the door, it's still locked? And that swings open and just like a bunch of fucking pea soup fog starts rolling in. The narration says it was more than wind which blew the door open. It was a blast of stinking evil, perhaps the tendrils of Marcosa's foul soul. So you got Doug. Doug's doing a pretty good job. I mean, there's not as many words this time, I think, which is good, at least until we get to the big Marcosa telling of his story later, which is all words pretty much. But no, he's done. I like his writing in this issue so far. We're at the halfway point, and I like what I've been reading so far.
No, it's not as goofy and trying to be clever as some of the previous issues have been.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a case of him seeing what Perlin turned in last issue and saying, I don't need to be carrying this much water. Like, Don's got this. I can probably dial back a notch.
Yeah.
Because Perlin went nuts last issue and fucking knocked it out of the park. So, yeah, so I did not notice the first couple times I read through this that in the flashback to the dream from last issue, Jack is doing bullet time matrix stuff where he's like falling backwards. I forgot about that. I really dig that panel on the right of the middle where they're standing on like a landing and it's all orange and everything is bathed in black to where it almost looks like it's just in space. Like just this really landing, cool. Candle lit, and then nothingness. Cool choice there.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too.
Okay, so we get kind of a refresher here where they go out to see the gargoyle and they step outside and Elaine notices the limousine's gone. And sure enough, the last of its taillight and bumper is going under, blurg. And they realize, oh my God, we're stranded here and there's no way to leave even if we wanted to, And we get this cool shot looking down into this canyon of swirling mist and the Marcosa House looming up out of it. And it is a very huge house. We've only just encountered a few rooms of it so far. So there's a lot of evil in there. They're realizing while this is going on, that the only person that knows we're here is Jerome Selwyn, and that dude probably would rather see us die. He'd rather die or see us die than rescue us without the answer he wants, which I thought was like, I didn't think there was any indication in meeting Jerome Selwyn last issue that he was so ruthless in his seeking immortality or whatever, but maybe so. Jack realizes, I think we bit off a little bit more than we can chew here, or actually a whole lot more than we can chew. And then he hears the sound of stone on stone, and he looks up, and sure enough, the gargoyle is starting to fall, but he is quick enough to dive and push Topaz and Elaine out of the way. The gargoyle hits the ground, shatters, and that skull from last issue with the hole in the forehead pops out of these shattered remains. So the skull motif continues. And Jack says, a skull sealed inside the gargoyle all this time. And he picks it up like Hamlet. He's like, this must be the key to the house's secret then. We better take it inside before we catch pneumonia and finish the job that gargoyle missed by inches.
So remember how I said a page or two ago that there weren't a lot of words in this comic so far? Boy, okay. So this page has a lot of narration. I'm going to read what I have to, but there's a lot. So yeah, the first panel is the three of them are sitting at a table and Elaine decides to tell them all she knows about Bellaric Marcosa. So this is a very lengthy thing. I'm going to try and summarize. So she basically says he was a huge man, which I love that description of him. A wealthy man, and he was a student of hypnotism, mysticism, and the power of will. And so basically the jaded rich would kind of flock to his door seeking cures for their psychic ills or just because they're bored and wanted to see cool shit. And so they would all go to him. But then she says that they all soon fell under his spell and took drinking and debauchery of every imaginable sort of drunken brawls and vile perversions. And within weeks, they would grow gaunt and start taking all kinds of drugs, and they become withered junkies because he's also an energy vampire. So, yeah, he's sucking their life force. And yeah, it's really a funny page. And the drawing of Marcosa's face, yeah, he has these two like rubies inset into his front teeth, which is such a weird choice. I mean, I just don't know who is that a note? Is that a note from Doug?
Put two rubies in his two front teeth.
Rubies in his teeth. Or is this just Perlin just being like, no, this is going to work great?
Did people do that? Like, I'm trying to think,
I don't think they did. That's the thing.
I've heard of gold teeth throughout history, but I'm not familiar with it. This is not Lil Wayne.
No, this seems
like a reference to like the vampire nature, and it's the wrong teeth, but
It's not a good reference if it is.
If it were his eye teeth, if it were his canines, that would be kind of a cool.
Yeah, that would make more sense. But yeah, it's a very strange stylistic choice by Don.
We used all the rubies, sir, except there are 2 left from the mural. Fuck it. Just put them in my teeth.
Put them in my teeth. So this page did make me think of what you were talking about last episode, Matt, about Hell House, and to where, just shit kind of starts going south. Yeah,
this is a much cleaner version of what Matheson was saying, where he created this playground for the rich, and that just slowly becomes more and more debauched. And he actually did a pretty good job here, but he threw in that psychic vampire stuff, which in Matheson's, this guy was just completely just evil.
Yeah.
Like, in the sense of just he liked sin for sinning's sake and just that kind of thing. Yeah. Interesting take on the source material, I guess. Yeah.
Something I liked was we got our first real good look at the leg that's making the tump noise.
Yeah.
And it is creepy and crazy at the same time. It's like this taloned claw, but then the leg part has like swirling colors on it.
Yeah, like psychedelic paisley, like carved into it and painted. The foot itself looks like I'm sure someone will correct me, but like that those things ninjas had like in the 80s, like it was like a eagle claw or something like that, and it was like this metal claw, and you could, I don't know if you shot it or if it was like on a stick and you used it as a thrusting weapon or something, but it was some ninja thing. That's what it looks like to me. So this continues on the next page, and as these poor wastrels would approach death, they would somehow emerge from their stupors, and in a frenzy, they would slaughter the other people in a murderous orgy. And Marcosa said, and that's what he enjoyed the most, that stage of the whole process. And he's sitting there in a big throne with probably some cognac, just smiling, watching this woman stab another guy in the back as there's just piles of these wasted people. His diary describes the immense pleasure and satisfaction he would derive from striding amongst the scattered corpses like a land baron walking amongst his peasants, or a conqueror who had won triumph without lifting a finger. And he's just happy strutting through like dead bodies in his castle. And Elaine comes out of this flashback, whatever it says, in all, some 47 people died here. And either for Marcosa's amusement or to feed his evil power, their bodies were never found, and their angry spirits killed my husband and the 7 other researchers who were here to try and pry the secret of life and death from this house. So apparently there's 47 ghosts here, maybe 48 if Marcosa's dead. And this is all for Jerome Selwyn's filthy money that they did this. And so they're all sitting there, and then we cut to Buck in the hospital. It says, but whoever skull it was, we had to unlock its secret, and not for Selwyn or his $200,000, but for Buck Cowan, my best friend, the man I'd ripped apart as the werewolf, and who now lay in a hospital miles away, teetering on the edge of death. And Jack says, I better go check on Alyssa. You two stay together. And I forgot to mention this a couple of pages ago when they ran out to check on the gargoyle, and we were looking at that landing floating in outer space. I was thinking, I would not leave my sister alone at this point for anything in the world.
No.
Like a rope came alive and tried to kill her, but it's cool because she's completely knocked out on sedatives. So
I had totally forgotten that they all just abandoned her knocked out on sedatives.
Yeah, they drugged her and left.
Yes, when a physical, actual rope became animate and hung her from a rafter. So he goes upstairs and he's like, whatever you do, don't start wandering around the house, all right? And then he turns, he's like, you hear me? And then he says, I want you to stay right. And he looks back and they're gone. What the? It's just the skull sitting on the table, and the 2 ladies have disappeared. I do like that kind of turning sequence there in the bottom row of Jack in a quarter profile, and then profile, and then turning back and looking at us as shocked. That's good stuff with the reds and the blacks.
Yeah, I agree. I love the motion of those bottom 4 panels. And yeah, also just the what the fuck of just the ladies have just disappeared.
In like a half a second.
In like a half a second.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I also, when my first read through, I was really struck by Elaine's face up at the top right, the 3rd panel there. And just like that just beaten down after telling the story kind of look she has there, which I thought was really captured well.
I agree. And does Buck have blood going in his nose? Oh, no, they used to have opaque tubes back then, right?
Yeah, but it totally looks like blood's going in his nose. I keep looking at that panel. I'm like, I'm not a doctor, but I just don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, that could be gray or white, and I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, I would totally have been fine with that. Yeah, I know. Always confuses me. But so, yeah, Jack is freaked out just because the ladies had disappeared. But then on the next page, this cloud of black ectoplasm comes out of the hole in the skull with this, demonic red face in it. And it envelops Jack. He thinks, I pitched to the floor, now wrapped in the skin-tight, wetly gleaming gelatin. I remembered the time I'd gone scuba diving off Malibu in the black neoprene wetsuit I had worn. This time there was no face mask. The claustrophobia was complete. I liked that. I thought that was a really, really good narration there.
That top row where this thing's spilling out of the skull and enveloping him, it looks a lot like, if you folks have read anything that has the symbiotes from Spider-Man, it looks like a symbiote suit, like taking over a host. It is really creepy. And the fact that he's describing this is all Doug. I mean, like saying like, it was like, I remember wearing a wetsuit and it was like that, except there's no face holes. I can't breathe. That makes my heart skip a beat. Like I'm so claustrophobic that gives me an immediate reaction. And that panel on the upper right with the skull in the foreground and the shadow of Jack being like just fighting off this thing, fucking golden composition.
Yeah, I was having a hard time probably one of those first three panels, but every panel on this page I really like. Like there's really cool storytelling. The panels are all really varied and so what happens after he's completely enveloped in the symbiote suit is that it breaks free with more of the little like Ploog Plasma bubbles and he's suddenly been transformed into the werewolf. Even though on the next panel, it just reminds us that the moon has barely passed its quarter phase. But I do love that the beast comes out of this, a black suit, and he's just raring to go. Like it says, I left the room wanting only to kill. Like he's just instantly the beast. And then what a weird, like 3 panels that are. It looks like he's walking down a bowling lane with like a chandelier above it.
That was a weird choice. I have to admit that hallway was technically right, but felt weird.
Yeah, it feels weird. But I mean, I guess that fits when you're dealing with a, topsy-turvy, scary haunted house. So I'm like, oh, well, we're in a haunted bowling alley now. And then as he's walking down this haunted bowling alley, suddenly all these red demonic hands emerge from the walls and start grabbing him and punching him. And so it's a cool page on the whole. A couple of these panels are a little weird, but I loved this page.
I really liked the sequence with the, I don't know what to call it, the symbiose, right? That's what I thought immediately, right? But I really like that sequence a lot. It's kind of corny, but also super cool at the same time, and it really got me excited there. Something I was struck by, though, was what kind of magic wrapping is his hand in? Like his hands can't survive the transformation, but his broken hand wrap bandages are pristine still at the end of this transformation.
That is a good point.
In a coloring question, in the digital version on the last panel where the arms out of the wall are grabbing him, is his hand fuchsia? His bandages? Or did they fix that for the digital?
No, his bandages are white in the digital.
Oh, okay, they fixed it. Yeah. They're the same color as the other werewolf's pants in this.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
Jacob, I think this has come up before on the show as well, but couldn't help but think of Beauty and the Beast with all the arms that come out of the wall and like hold things for you. Cool. And I mean, this is obviously the upside down nightmare version of that, but yeah, so they continue to do that and they're holding like bands of steel. He's thrashing around and he senses a trap, but the hands do not stop holding him. And then he hears the tinkling of the crystals in the chandelier and he realizes this is definitely a trap. And I love this third panel where he decides, fuck it, and he just chomps down on one of the arms that's holding him. And he's looking straight ahead without any emotion. And I have seen my cat do that. Like, when you fuck with your cat, and you're touching his belly a little bit, or you're petting him a little bit more than he wants to be pet, and then he just emotionlessly just chomps on you and is just looking at you like, don't. Seriously, don't. That's that look. I've seen it.
Oh, you're so right.
And so he chomps and it lets him go. The chandelier comes crashing to the ground, smashes lots of the hands. He dives out of that hallway and goes running. And then he runs down a different way. And there's a gout of flame just spraying there, just fire. And so he turns back in the opposite direction. And he's realizing, even as a beast, that somebody's hurting him towards a point. That at this point, this is just sending him somewhere. And it's sending him to a closed door. And so the werewolf lapped his tongue over his fangs and moved forward. It's all worth it for me for that third panel.
The third panel does make it. It's so funny. Yeah, this is a cool page. Yeah. I don't know. The storytelling isn't as good. No. Just the sequential storytelling isn't great on this page, but a lot of the individual panels are really cool. And you're right. The cat just distracted, disengaged biting.
Yes,
is totally worth it.
Yeah, that and the beast in the lower left hand corner, growling at the flames, are my two favorite panels.
Yeah. And I loved that. It says it on the bottom on the final panel. Yeah, towards a door, a closed door. But I love that we get a little bit of a callback on the next page about how the werewolf hates closed doors.
Yep.
Like, he gets super pissed and starts, trying to break it down, because the narration says the werewolf didn't care. He simply hated closed doors. They reminded him of cages and of the loss of freedom. So he slammed his shoulder into the door, and then the thin center panel cracked, then shattered. And so, he shoves his way through the broken door and sees Elaine. It says Elaine was in the room. There was rage twisting behind her face, a butcher knife clenched in her hands. And she's got a knife just like above this body that's on the bed. You can't see who it is yet. And she says, she's screaming like, "No, you're too late. I've already killed her." She says, "You see, I've already killed her again." She starts stabbing the body. And in the final panel narration, it says he saw the woman only as prey, as something to slash and rend and tear. So he's not even really, he's not paying attention. We figured out in many issues, the werewolf does not pay attention to things that are dead or have already been beaten, because they're not prey to be hunted. He's just yeah. So he's always going to go for whoever's moving around really, really fast. And so, but this is kind of a horrifying page. And I did like how we're starting to, and this goes on for this page, how it's kind of framing the skull at the opening of Marcosa House. It kind of has these panels that are almost kind of framing the action in a way. It's strange, but kind of cool.
So I took that to be the outdoor, like you said, the threshold and the shattered gargoyle. And then Perlin at the bottom shows us that gargoyle is gone now. All the pieces are gone. So it's reassembling itself for the next page, which we'll see in a minute. But like, that's not, we've said before, like, it seems like Munch sometimes is dumbing down for 10-year-old, 12-year-old audience and kind of writing below. That is not doing the equivalent with art of dumbing it down for an audience. Like, that's actually a pretty nuanced thing there, to have that repetition of the panel and foreshadow a thing that's coming up in a minute.
No, you're right. It's a really really, really nuanced move. This is not your Electric Company Spider-Man type of storytelling here.
Yeah, Ben, what'd you think of this page?
I had a reaction on this page of like, oh, Elaine's trying to play the werewolf and make it like ignore this, right? That was my first reaction of, I hope that Elaine is like playing 4D chess here with the werewolf. But yeah, I actually really like this, like the crazed look in Elaine's face. I feel like some of the best work has been on Elaine actually in this issue. Some of her just like her facial expressions. Well, the art's hit or miss to be like, she doesn't look the same necessarily everywhere, but I feel like they really captured a lot of the emotion in her. Yeah, the two panels of the change with the gargoyle being reassembling is pretty cool too.
I love the beast slamming into the closed door. That's some great action dynamic art there. I agree that the Elaine thing is cool. Ben, are you saying that she's like doing the equivalent of like smashing a bottle over your head so that the crazy biker dude doesn't fuck with you in the bar.
Yeah, kind of that was what I was like hoping, right? Like, oh, she's stabbing like a pillow next to like one of the girls, right? To like make the werewolf go away. Like, because we do know like the werewolf doesn't care if something's dead, right? That was like my initial reaction, like, oh, so smart. And then I'm not going to give it away yet.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
This page was dynamite, and that last panel of the Beast who's saying he doesn't give a shit and he's moving closer to her. Great depiction of the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that crazed look in the Beast on the second panel moving to the third panel too. Just really, really awesome.
I feel like Perwin's Beast has been spot on through the Marcosa saga so far. So on the next page, before he can attack Elaine, the reformed gargoyle has broken in through the window, and it attacks the Beast. And there's this cool panel, the third one, where it says, "Now it was alive and killing me." And you see the doorway to exit the room, and Elaine bolts out, and she's all in blue. The distance beyond is all in blue. And she's completing what she said in the last page, which was, I've already killed her again. And then she says, I've already killed her, as she runs off. And the foreground wall around the door is red, and there's a shadow of the gargoyle grabbing the Beast cast on there really large. Very cool kind of Art Deco kind of weird take on that. It's almost like Grendel or something weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's just very decorative and cool. The Beast is not having any of this gargoyle shit again. And so he's slashing it, slams it in the wall, and he tears the wings off, which come off with a sickening sound. And there's no blood, though. There's just a weltering of ooze of black bubbles that comes out of the wounds. And as the creature reverted from life to death, I began to change from the werewolf to Jack. So as this thing is disintegrating, just kind of disappearing and fading off into ether, he becomes Jack again. And his head hurts, and he's confused, and he couldn't think, he couldn't breathe. And then he remembers there's a body on the bed, and Elaine was stabbing someone. But who? And that last panel of him looking horrified is really effective, as he's realizing somebody's dead. Elaine just killed someone.
No, you're totally right. His face on that last panel is just terrifying, because you know the shit has gone down. Yeah, this page was, I just want more spectral beings to bleed Ploog Plasma.
Yeah. Is that so much to ask?
No, that's not too much to ask. That should just be a stock thing. But no, that was my favorite part of this page for sure.
I really like how kind of badass the werewolf is in this issue too. Like this page especially, right? And it's a spectral being, right? But still ripping the wings off a gargoyle. Yeah. Just really, really cool.
Can I ask a practical question, which I probably shouldn't be? So for a moment there, was Jack and the werewolf separated fully? And was that Ploog Plasma enveloping him, like Marcosa giving the soul of the wretched peasant back to Jack and the curse?
Well, I like that, actually. I think that's a pretty good explanation.
Because what else was that? Was that envelopment by the black oozy mass coming out of the skull? What was that if not that?
I did not put that much thought into it, but
because doesn't he erupt from that cocoon already in werewolf form?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so I think that's what that meant.
Yeah, I noticed how you said last issue you're just like, well, let's wait and see if this werewolf spirit is real or part of Marcosa House, and it did seem like it was real. Like they were saying that the house, pulled that spirit out of Jack to fuck with him and try to drag him down to hell. And so, yeah, it seems, I think that's a really good explanation. I love it.
Okay. We have a heavy thing to do now.
Yeah, no shit. So this next page is intense. It has the least amount of words, which, again, makes it very effective. And though the subject matter is terrible, the series of panels here are just great. So the first panel is, above them, we see Jack kind of going over towards the bed to see who has been killed, who's been stabbed by Elaine. And the second panel is, it's just kind of looking up, over and up at Jack as he realizes who it is. And it's almost got this cool, like zipatone background, this like two-tone zipatone.
Yeah.
God, it's so badass. And again, no words. And the only words, the first words are on that third panel, and says it was Topaz. And we see Topaz just looking really frighteningly dead. Like, I thought that was a really, really scary and well done panel.
Yeah, it's like ugly dead. Like her eyes are rolled back in her head and she's slack jawed. This is not some kind of Hollywood, golden age of Hollywood dead. This is like dead.
Yeah, this is scary dead, not sexy dead.
Yeah.
And then, and then the fourth panel, like, wow, Jack is just, so beside himself and crying. And then he just kind of crumples up in that fifth panel. In the sixth, he's lifted her up and is walking her away from the bed, and it says she was dead. And then he hears, in that last panel, you hear Marcosa laughing again. And the narration says, no, Lord, no, that laughter. Again, Marcosa, what did he want? Why was he doing this? What kind of fiend could take pleasure, not from murder itself, but from the torment and anguish of those left alive, left to face the death, to face that hideous, gut-freezing laughter? And yeah, I kind of liked, if we could have like 5 or 6 nearly wordless panels and then Doug just kind of ran it in at the end, I would be okay with that format.
Yeah, me too.
And it's strange to say because it's one of my least favorite things that's happened in this comic. However, this is one of my favorite pages. Right? And just the emotion that he shows, right? Just the minimal words on it. It's really spectacular. I hate what's happening here, but the page is fantastic.
It is. It really is.
That was very smart, Perlin, to use a 4-poster bed, because from the time that he entered the room with Elaine, they got to use shadow to obscure everything that was happening up until Perlin was ready to show us. That was a brilliant move, and it's heart-wrenching. That panel where he's carrying Topaz's body is and it just says she was dead is the only panel on there. Is just heartbreaking. Okay, so on the last page we have a full page illustration, and wow, there's a lot going on. So Jack looks up and sees Marcosa, and he's standing at the top of like another flight of stairs or something, and it is a very intricate stonework with skull stained glass set in everywhere. If you don't recall, Marcosa has a cape on, and he has that peg leg too. So he's a very striking, strange guy with a beard, like a neck beard, but no like a Lincoln beard.
Yeah, Lincoln beard.
So I'm just gonna have to read this copy here. It says, "It was Marcosa, my first clear view of the monster Belric Marcosa. He stood in death above me, his pose a mockery of every great and good man who'd ever lived. His voice was the thunder forged in hell." And Marcosa says to Jack, "A brilliant performance, my lycanthropic guest, a most moving portrayal of pathos and grief. But it is hoped you will surpass yourself with the addition of another player below." And your eyes go down from him down to just below where Belric's standing, and there's Buck hanging from a noose, seemingly dead, in his hospital gown. As Jack in the foreground looks up, holding Topaz, taking all this in. And the copy says, "Buck dangled at the end of the noose. His eyes were open, glazed, and they saw nothing. I felt my flesh crawl as I looked into those eyes, remembering that we'd entered this hell to save Buck's life. The rope twitched under his weight, and his head slumped to the side. My mind screamed and screamed and screamed. It would never stop." Craziness.
Yeah.
So next issue, madness piles onto madness, and dementia unites with horror for the first full assault. The most gripping, grisly werewolf by night story of all, Marcosa in death. Wow.
Yeah, it's a hell of a last page.
Well, it should be a blacklight poster.
Quite a cliffhanger for sure.
It is. It's really colored like a blacklight poster too.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and have a drink to Topaz, because
the Topaz indeed.
The Topaz.
She's very deadish looking. Poor Topaz. Let's talk about final thoughts. We're halfway through this saga. And what'd you make of part 2, Jacob?
Well, I thought the pace was just as good as part 1. The art was a little spotty, but I do think that the stakes, the terror, the weird violence does just keep ratcheting up, and I'm all for that. I can't wait for the next two parts. I like that we're getting 4-part stories. Like, it seems it seems mature. It's not, monster of the week shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's it seems to have real stakes and really matters. And so no, I'm all for the kind of storytelling that's going on in this book right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that these longer form stories let the characters actually, the villains even, become developed and actually have some weight, right? It's not some freak with a magic book or a suit on who just wants to raise some hell and get, in the way of the beast for 30 pages. This is actually a real thing. It's a real character.
And are you saying that the committee wanting to change our economy for the better is not a real character?
I think Gary Thunder is a real character, but they've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But then they just tore his guts open and he's gone. That's my whole point. We just got to know Gary and he's dead.
I agree with both of you, right? The making this a 4-parter has been really allowed things to develop a lot more. Jack's a little less one-dimensional so far in this this series, and the one worry I have is after this issue, I don't know if my heart can handle 2 more issues with this kind of stuff happening at this breakneck pace. I'm pretty intense so far.
Yeah. I think that this is just what the doctor ordered personally for this series. I think that there were some letters that came in to the editor at some point that said, we read some of those on the air that were let's stay away from the silly Baron Thunder guys. Let's keep with the eerie and creepy stuff. And this works really well to me. And, we also said before, like, why would you not tie in all this crazy history of this family? Why would you just kind of say, I'm a werewolf now and I live in LA? Like, all these things are being addressed in this storyline, like his past and the curse and true evil, which we don't see enough of, I think, in this era of comics. So, yeah, I love this. I'm totally in. I got to be honest, I don't remember how this ends at all. I just remember the first 2 parts, really. So it's like it's all new, like a goldfish. Just came back around to the side of the bowl again. Whoa, cool, a castle. Whoa, cool, a treasure chest. Whoa, cool, a castle. Whoa, cool, a treasure chest.
Yeah, and it's funny, normally in our run, as we've gone through these issues, I'll read like an issue ahead just to kind of have a little bit of context. But I haven't been doing that with this. I just want to go 1 issue a week. I want to stretch it out, and I want to come in fresh. And it's exciting. This is an exciting arc, and I'm enjoying it.
I was actually wondering if you were reading ahead or not. I was hoping you weren't. That's good.
No, not at all.
Good boy. Next week, we'll be taking on part 3. I'm not going to read a letter because we have a guest. Let's keep our dirty laundry.
We don't want to subject a guest to wear mail by night, which is normally so annoying a lot of the time.
Can I just read one sentence from one of these that I'm not going to read?
Fine.
I am, in a word, overwhelmed. Werewolf by Night is hardly my favorite series. A strip whose heretofore best days were its earliest issues. I was like, fuck you. Anyway, it's a backhanded compliment where he's saying, wow, Don really turned it around. Doug really turned it around, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I will refrain from reading a lot of these unless it's something new we haven't heard yet, I guess, and just kind of give you the synopses of them.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've not, as I said, I haven't read a lot of older comics, especially in issue form. So I've been spared a lot of the mail. Man, is it the darkest corners of the internet come onto page?
Yeah. It was
quite
just
a precursor there.
It was just a bunch of trolls waiting for an internet to happen.
Yeah.
We should have known that what would happen and just not invented the internet. If people had been reading these back pages more, we would have been saved a lot of grief, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of knew, like when I first started hearing about the internet in the late 90s, people saying it's been around for a while, but it was just all text stuff. And it was just nerds arguing whether Picard or Kirk was a better captain. I was like, oh, this is going to get fucking weird as the technology grows. And I was right.
You were right, my friend.
So we had we asked last week if we wanted a break from Paul Naschy werewolf movies, and we want to know if there's any recommendations, and we got one, and I think we should watch it, Jacob. So I'm booking it.
All right.
It's for a movie from the 40s, I think, early 40s, called The Undying Monster. And I know you and I both love that era of filmmaking, so I thought, what a great break from 70s Spanish sleaze to watch. So yeah, it's easily found. I found like 5 or 6 versions of it on YouTube already. So it's like 62 minutes. I love those old movies that are short as well.
So awesome.
So let's watch The Undying Monster that Mark recommended and talk about it next week. Is that cool?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Cool. I've also repeatedly got some tweets and some emails and messages about what are you guys planning on doing after issue 43? And so Jacob and I have talked about it a little bit, but I just thought, well, let's just say it on the show because I respond to people, but I don't like DMing people and writing all this shit out all the time, and just put it, it's a matter of public record and we'll just talk about it. And then, so we have no plans to, a lot of people want to know if we're going to move on with Jack Russell's journey after issue 43, after his initial run ends. And we don't have a plan to do that as yet. I'm open to it. I'm currently collecting the stories to bind to make my own kind of library editions of his appearances and this and that and the other. But Jacob and I are also pre-producing another series that's a completely different non-comics related thing that we want to try out. So I think it's probably safest to say that when issue 43 happens and that comes out, that'll be the end of season 1 of the show. We are both open to and interested in at some point coming back and following Jack's journey further, but it is not an immediate plan right now, and it's just something that'll be fun to do and that we're open to. So we will be ending the show. We'll probably, I don't know, it'd be fun to do like a 43 and then maybe just a kind of a recap or something, just kind of a bullshit and end of series kind of a, DVD extra episode and call it good.
Yeah, I figured we'd do a little cap on season 1 for our
favorite moments,
episode.
Favorite guests that you can easily sway the judges by sending them bourbon.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a clip show, I think we're all okay, right?
It won't be a clip show, but we'll read telegrams that people have sent wishing us good luck.
I like that.
Yeah.
It would be all those mailmen just coming in, dumping bags of it in front of the judge. There's 25 more bags of this out there. Where this came from? I just don't say.
See, people did care, Matt. They cared all along.
Yes. So those are the things I think we had to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Mark also mentioned, I put this on our social feed on Twitter and Instagram, but Mark also said I was watching a Starsky and Hutch episode and noticed that this actor was reading Werewolf by Night issue number 34, which I thought was cool because we just read that one and it's one of my favorite covers. And, Starsky and Hutch come in, they get a tip to go talk to this guy. It's called The Bounty Hunter. It's season 1, episode 22. You can find it online if you dig around. I had it on while I was working and I was really bored. I haven't seen Starsky and Hutch since I was a kid and I was not impressed.
But, no, it's terrible.
Yeah, so they come in to ask this dude something. He's like he's working like the desk at a flop house, like a seedy hotel or something. And so he's reading Werewolf by Night, and they come in and say like, "Oh, expanding your mind," like blah blah blah, and like they're just making fun of him for reading comic books.
Fucking assholes!
It's like, you guys are fascist pigs. What are you reading, dipshit? What's on your nightstand, asshole? Penthouse Forum? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Isn't there black guys stealing something for his hungry family that you need to beat up somewhere right now?
Yeah.
Pig. Starsky. Fuck you, Starsky. And fuck you, Hutch. Whichever one was in Salem's Lot, you're okay. The other guy, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. The Salem's Lot guy is all right.
I like David Soul.
Yeah.
I don't like that Paul whatever Glazer.
Fuck that guy.
Pig. But I support our Backyard Blue. I'm a big cup booster.
Sure you are.
Ben, is there any final thoughts you want to share with us before we tear the wings off this little critter?
No, I really appreciate you folks having me. It's been a lot of fun reading this. And as I said, it's been great reading this along for I don't even know how many months we've been doing this, but reading along has been fun, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. I think all told, this will be just over 12 months when we wrap the series. So it's nice. Let's put a button on there, something that's not daunting for a newcomer at some point down the road, and something that hopefully didn't overstay its welcome in the moment in real time. I don't know. I still like to think I'm in Rebecca's ear. She falls asleep.
Yeah, she fell asleep like 45 minutes ago. So.
Well, I find value in that.
Yeah, no, we serve a purpose, Matt. We serve a greater purpose.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining us this week. And thank you, Ben, for joining us this week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Join us next week when we talk about issue number 36, part 3 of the Marcosa House saga. And we'll also be talking about the Undying Monster from 1942, I think. All right. Well, Jacob, good to talk to you this week.
Excellent, as always, to talk to you.
Till we meet again, eat the full moon, furry ones. Here's howling at ya.